house looks just like the one next to it. And the one next to that. And the one next to that. A young couple live in it.
Give Ken a kiss.
You are so obsessed.
With their 3 children. And something more.
Here. Sweetie, remember last night? Do you remember when you woke up and you said you were here? Uh-huh. Well, how did you know I was here? TV people.
Something funny going on here next door. Something,
We were wondering if maybe you had experienced any disturbances.
what kind of disturbances?
I don't know whatever's over this house. I've never sensed anything like it. That thing is in there with my baby. Right.
Now Steven Spielberg crosses a frightening new threshold into a world within our own. Its form is revealed.
What is it?
Its focus is clear. And the games are over. Poltergeist. It knows what scares you.
And good morning, everybody. This is your horrible host, Graham Nolan, here for 31 Days of Monsters. Today is what is today? Today's day 22. And we're talking about Poltergeist. Yes, I know I'm smacking all you guys because I told you yesterday that we were going to be doing The Mole People. I thought I had that movie, but I don't. So I started looking around for it and I couldn't find it anywhere. So I had to make a last minute course correction and came up with this. It's a much better movie. I gotta tell you, the problem with The Mole People is that it slugs. You know, it's got a great looking monster, but boy, that movie slugs. So we're going to talk about Poltergeist, 1982, directed by Toby Hooper and produced by Steven Spielberg, who also wrote the screenplay or the original story. I can't remember which. One of the few times he has a writing credit, actually. This was a 1982 blockbuster. 2 films by Spielberg came out this year. In fact, just weeks apart. This one and E.T. And they both did, what does Variety say? Boffo business. Of course, E.T. getting the bigger share of the box office, but this was a big film. It was the most successful film financially that Toby Hooper ever did. And Toby Hooper, of course, got mentioned when we talked about Alien, and because he directed Texas Chainsaw Massacre, and that's why Spielberg wanted him for this. This is a really, really great and creepy movie. I've loved this since I saw it at the theater. And JoBeth Williams, you just fall in love with her. She is so great. You saw that in the trailer where she says, "Don't touch my baby." The passion that she's able to get across about her child. And there's a sequence too where Carol Ann is sort of kidnapped by these specters, the TV people, as she calls them. And she's talking to her mother, and then her spirit passes through her mother. And JoBeth Williams is like, you know, she passed through me, her soul passed through me, and she's smelling her clothes and stuff. That gets me every time. I mean, the love of a mother for their child, is just so palpable in those scenes. It gets me, dare I say, misty. It's really, really good. Craig T. Nelson is in this too. He's really good. Both these guys hadn't been in much yet, and the story goes that they didn't want big stars for it, so that it would be more believable. But in fact, I guess they had asked Shirley MacLaine, and she turned it down. She didn't like the frightening aspects with children. Special effects done by Dennis Muren and the guys at Lucas Film are spectacular, particularly for the age it was done. The creatures, the header card that is part of this show has that scene where Craig T. Nelson's on the rope and he's pulling it and the giant creature head comes out. Skull-like monster thing is awesome. Really great. Cinematography is great. There's some Spielberg isms in here that always drive me nuts. Like, every family is a train wreck in his movies. The kids, like they're eating breakfast and the mother's telling them not to do stuff or to do stuff, and they're throwing food all over the place. And it's like, who the hell lives like that? I would grab that kid and say, "Hey, what'd I tell you?" They're throwing food and stuff and feeding the dog, and it's just, there's all this chaos and stuff that's out of control. When it first opens up and we see a Dirk Blocker riding his bike, he's kind of goofy riding a kid's bike, and he's got like a case of beer in his hands, and then the neighborhood kids send the radio controlled cars to make him crash, and he spills the beer. He picks up what he can, and the beer is spewing all over the place, and he walks into the guy's house with beer spewing all over to watch a football game. And nobody says anything about the beer spilling all over this guy's house. That kind of stuff just, it's just like, okay, come on, just over the top stuff. But that being said, those just little pet peeves, director's choices that he uses. But by and large, great movie. I'm sorry that I had to change gears on you. There's talk about a curse in this movie. I don't believe in those things, but there was some terrible deaths. What's her name? Dominic Dunn, the oldest girl, was strangled to death just a few months after this movie was completed. By an ex-boyfriend that she wouldn't reconcile with. He strangled her in her driveway, and she never regained consciousness. Oxygen flow, and she passed, which is a shame. Heather O'Rourke, who played Carol Ann, she was dead by age 12. She had like an intestinal stenosis. She was misdiagnosed, and she died at the young age of 12. That was sad. Somebody else passed away too. Oh, Lou Perryman. He's the guy who's standing at the window sampling the tomato sauce and drinking coffee and stuff. Again, that's a very odd sequence. They're having a pool put in, and the construction crew is out there, and Dominic Dunn's character goes out, to get on her bike to go to school, and these guys are leering. Sonny Landham is in it, by the way. He's one of the pool guys who we saw Sonny in Predator. Anyway, they're leering at this 16-year-old girl, and the mother is looking out the window at it, and she's just like, oh, boys, that type of thing. She doesn't address it at all. And it's like, man, if those pool guys are out there leering at my 16-year-old daughter, I'd be out there punching some faces in. So, again, that's one of those stupid Hollywood things that drive me crazy. People behaving in unnatural ways. But what else? Oh, yeah. There's a sequence where Diane, the Jo Beth Williams character. No. It's Craig T. Nelson is talking to the investigators, the paranormal investigators, and she asks how old your wife was and your children and all that kind of stuff. And he says his wife is 32, and the Dominic Dominic Dunn character is 16. Well, that means Jo Beth Williams had her at 16 years old, which seems a little odd. Of course, it's Hollywood, so it might very well be. But evidently, this was explained in the novel that this was actually the husband's, Steve Freeling's second marriage. So the Dominic Dunn character is actually her stepdaughter. But they don't make that clear in the film. But we were watching it last night, and Julie says, did the quick math in her head. She goes, wait a minute, that means she's only 16 years old. I'm like, oh, well, that's creepy, even for Hollywood. But yeah, so again, great film. Check it out if you haven't seen it. And let's say good morning to the chat, the super chat that's here. Our pals, Dr. Masks, Retro Elixir is here. JP Roca asks, what's good? Pop Culture Avenger is here. Revan Saber is here. He says, hail, Sir Graham. Hail, chat. Hello. Liquid Blake is here. Excellent choice, nonetheless, he says. Thank you for your patience. I appreciate that. Dennis Shoemate, my man. Good morning. He says, good morning, gang. Thrim wishes everyone a good morning. Everybody wishes everybody a good morning here. JP Roca says this house is clean. She wasn't right, was she? Toki Deathhammer says, hello, chat. Hello, Mr. Nolan. Hello, sir. The Normie Nerd is here. Billy Glasby is here. And he says the house is clear. That's good. Good to know. JP Roca says, amazing what 1 year and a budget can make compared to the Boogans. Yeah, well, the Boogans is well written. The actual monsters themselves, not so much. But they were creative with their budget. Like I said yesterday, I like that movie. I guess the Poltergeist took Graham's copy of Mole People. That would explain it. Man of War 665 says, what the hell? And after Graham told me to meet him at the center of the earth, I sure wasn't expecting to find Ward Cleaver and Alfred Pennyworth. Yeah, Alan, I'm drawing a blank. The guy who played Alfred in Batman and the guy who played Ward Cleaver are both in that film, along with, of course, John Egar. Bill Dunleavy says, I like this flick quite a bit. Been a long time since I've watched it. Dr. Mask reminds us that train wreck families is a Hollywood trope. Liquid Blake says the sequels are very different, but still have some moments to like. I haven't watched any of those. Crease 1984 is here. He says, hello, crew. I love that movie. The 1982 original, not remake. Did they remake it? Poltergeist? I didn't know they remade it. I know they did sequels. I didn't know they remade it. Orlando Herrera says, howdy, Graham. Howdy, Orlando. Move your TV, man. I remember Jo Beth Williams being a bit hot in this movie. Oh, was a beautiful young lady then. What about is here? Joe Beth Williams on the ceiling. Yeah, that was like one of those Fred Astaire moments, where they have the set. It's all self-contained in a box, and everything is nailed down, and they rotate it, so that the actor can crawl up. They did that in The Fly the other day with Jeff Goldblum that we talked about. There was a sequence there, same type of thing. I think the first time they did that was with Fred Astaire, dancing on the ceiling. Damn, that coffee gets cold quick. Hans Roger says, I saw it very young for the first time. The little girl died in some mysterious way. I checked her up. Her birth was my birthday, same year. Spooky stuff. The scene where the guy has a vision of ripping his face apart in the bathroom was creepy. Yeah, it's creepy in a different way too today because you can tell it's a prosthetic head, and actually the hands that are pulling away at the angles are all wrong for the hands to reach that, so it jumps out at me. But anyway, those hands are Steven Spielberg's pulling the face apart. Oh, so I guess they made it in 2015. Remake had great actors, but they failed to repeat that feel of terror for me. Well, I'm gonna have to look that one up. See who's in it. Oh, the guys are chiming in on my cold coffee. Sideways Enforcer just popped in. Hello there, sir. Glad you could make it. Oh, Sam Rockwell is the father in the remake. Okay. I like Sam Rockwell. He's a good actor. Alrighty, let's see. Okay. Dennis Shoemate just checked in. Saw this in the theater. Loved it. The end scene with the TV being relocated was perfect. Yeah, I like that. And I like his face, too, as he kind of like rolls it out there. He looks up and out, back into the hotel, and then walks in. I like that. This, remember how I talked about it drives me nuts when people behave in ways that are unnatural, like walking into a dark house and not turning the light on, walking through the house and not turning the light on. After this incredible experience that they've been through, and they finally get Carol Ann back and bring her back from the other dimension, would you sleep in that house that night? I wouldn't. But there they are, they're moving, yes, but they still slept in the house. She's taking a bath. The kids are playing in their room. Oh, and that's another thing. Which one of you would own that clown? even before the hauntings and stuff, that freaking clown was freaky looking anyway, staring out at that kid. No freaking way. Spielberg wrote that scene and the tree scene because those are two great fears of his, clowns and trees. I don't know about trees, but yeah, that clown thing, you just knew that was going to come back. Oh, EVS is a huge fan of the original Poltergeist. Well, if I could have gotten him up early enough, I could have had him on this show. Actually, I take that back. Ethan's up usually pretty early. I just didn't know that he was a fan of Poltergeist. Yeah, not a fan. My wife had a clown collection when we first married, and she used to display it, and I was like, I can't take this. So the clowns have been put away. They are creepy. Fearless Freep made it. He's late, but he made it. Hi, everyone. Hi, Graham. Hello there. JJW got his copy of The Expendables Go to Hell. Great work. I was very proud of that project. I haven't seen it, to be honest. I haven't gotten my copies yet. But I know people are starting to receive it, so I'm happy about that. It's been long overdue. But I'm looking forward to seeing it in print. But I busted my hump on that project, and I was very, very happy with how it turned out. One of the hardest projects I ever had to work on. So much reference for it. But I was very happy with the results. Okay, so my friends, tomorrow we're going to do It Came from Beneath the Sea. It's another Ray Harryhausen film about a giant octopus that comes up out of the San Francisco Bay. So there's your homework. I do have this movie, so I won't be switching gears on you. As to the time tomorrow, I'm not sure. Tomorrow is wedding day, so my timeline's it's going to be a little bit more fluid. So subscribe to the channel, hit the notifications buttons, so that way you'll be notified when the show is going to go on, and you won't miss it. If you do miss it, well, you can always watch it in the archive. But anyway, we shall see you tomorrow for It Came from Beneath the Sea. And don't forget to count those octopus legs or tentacles, or whatever they're called. You'll be glad you did. So we'll see you then, my friends. Bye-bye.